Alright, it's great and glorious Nick Dutch back on the camera again one more time. Hi there, how the heck's it going? Now today I want to do something which I haven't done for a long period of time, and that's to talk about self-development within religion itself and using religion in a very positive self-developmental type manner. Just want to get a few things sort of like cleared up first and foremost. There are no cures. So if you've got, let's say, a touch of social anxiety disorder and you want to get involved in a religious group purely to cure that, it's not going to happen. You don't get cures from counselling. It's a long-term process. And on top of that, you don't get cures, dramatic, miraculous, overnight cures, despite what some people say, purely by being involved in some varieties of religious organisations. It just doesn't seem to operate like that. I mean, essentially what you're doing is you're trying to change your mind through using different ideas, a different way of life, adding a bit of structure to your life, and so on and so forth. That's essentially what it's all about. So, don't expect there to be some kind of miracle. Now, the best that we can claim, alright, this is the best that we can claim here, alright, rather than necessarily what there could be, but the best that we can claim is that there is some kind of therapeutic augmentation, namely assistance to an existing therapeutic way of life as a result of different forms of religion, religiosity, and religious techniques. But if we're going to be trying to be rational about this, if you add another factor to any process, and that factor is leading you into the same direction, alright, then it would actually be irrational to assume that there is no augmentation to therapy or therapeutic results, okay? It would actually be wrong, intellectually wrong, to say that there is going to be no benefit from it, and it's not going to speed up, right, in some kind of subtle, catalytic kind of way to your growth, development, change, and progress. So essentially, religiosity still has some kind of rational basis, despite the fact it is an irrational thing to do, okay? The next point would be to choose your religious sources carefully and, keep away from bullies. I mean, it is wonderful to have, let's say, a spiritual advisor of one type or another. But there are some advisors, so they call themselves, who actually have a sadism problem. And as a result of that, they can do a lot of harm, and it's worthwhile keeping away from them and finding someone who's more right for yourself. There are, of course, those who have your best interest at heart, but essentially are doing things in the wrong way, or the wrong way for yourself at the time through lack of knowledge of who you are and what you're about. So that's something else to bear in mind. Some people actually want a harsher method, some people don't want a harsher method. And of course, just because someone's got a religious title or a New Age title or an occultist title does not mean to say that they're actually any good whatsoever. Alright, because these are titles which are unregulated. And even if they were regulated, so, a person can have, let's say, a top quality master's qualification in counselling theory and practice, but essentially if they haven't quite got the character to go with it, then essentially they might still do you some harm. So even with proper qualifications, so to speak, there can still be a few issues. So just be aware that there may be some people out there who aren't quite right for yourself, so it may be up to yourself to feel your way around. Alright, don't get involved in any religious arguments. Now, when you're going through the process of becoming a New Ager, a lot of the perception as to what it means to be a this, that, or the other turns away from what good you're trying to get from this and turns to either my God is better than your God, or this colour means this and not that type of argumentation. These are puerile, pathetic, childlike, moronic, imbecilic, because instead of being used to try and work out how your mind reacts to certain symbols, which is what you do by yourself, alright, it's being used as another form of bullying to put people down and to cause more problems. So essentially you can be someone who's got a few issues, you move into a society like this who's promising something therapeutic, and you can come out of it with serious problems. Unless of course you know where to draw the line and who to keep away from and why to keep away from them. So that's something to bear in mind, okay? The next point I bring up is be rigorously honest with yourself about what you are achieving. So think about what you wanted to achieve first and foremost. Alright? Think about the realistic limits as to what you could achieve there, okay? and also analyze how far you're getting as the days, weeks, months, and years progress. Maybe every quarter or every eighth of the year, or indeed once a week or once a month. Just have a quick look at yourself and see basically whether you're doing any better in trying to solve the original problem, and you're not being distracted by any of the other seeming problems or seeming issues which other allegedly spiritual people seem to be giving you at any particular time. Alright? Be free to have some doubt. Now, if you're going to get yourself involved in religiosity in any form whatsoever, you will be sold by something or someone or by a book you read. It means this, it means that. There's one particular specific meaning or one particular specific thing you need to do. And basically you might try it, you might not get the results that it's actually promising, which means therefore their argument is being destroyed by your experience. Or whatever it is they're saying is not relevant to your life personally or per se. So you are free to have doubt in these things which you have been convinced to accept. And don't worry about that. Discard things which aren't really doing you any good. But if something is still therapeutic for you, then carry on doing it, which is basically the same kind of message as if you were involved in marketing or sales and you had a business that you were trying to promote and you were doing something that was getting you the sales. Then essentially then carry on doing it, but then you also look at what other people are doing and see whether some things that they're doing could be incorporated into your business as well. And there's nothing wrong with taking the same kind of attitude to life self-development therapy as well. But try and find people who've actually done it, and not just those who say they've done it. Okay, there's plenty of salespeople, all right, but there's very few people within this particular market actually doing the work. Lots of salesmen, very few action people, so to speak. Okay, research techniques broadly. Meditation, yoga, prayer, ceremony, incense, color visualization, all of these have their place, but use the right techniques for the right purposes. Again, there are some people out there who are rather dogmatic, and they will try and say to you that no, it's only color visualization that does this, or it's only one thing that you do with crystals will help you here. Be a little more broad, but also think about the problem you've got and think about how that particular problem could be influenced by other factors outside of yourself. And if you try something new, yes, there is some kind of intellectual benefit to just trying something new as a means of trying to deal with a problem, and that does help you to move forward bit by bit, or so it seems. But it won't necessarily be the right thing, all right, or the right thing for what you're trying to get over, or whichever problem you're trying to deal with. There are some things which do seem to help, and we'll get onto those in just a few moments. But remember, augmentation is there to help. Sometimes just the written word and contemplation and communication with someone who is a trusted source of information and ideas could do the job for you. But that still can only be part of the whole process. Counseling can have its effect for a while, but it certainly won't cure you. Okay? Don't allow the faith to be a distraction, and don't be distracted away from the faith. If you are doing any form of religious or spirituality, for your own purposes, you need a singular base and foundation to grow from, a stable identity. But, by all means get to know it, but don't forget your original goals. So choose a particular starting point. Don't go around selling it. Alright, you don't have to explain it to anybody else. Within some occult books, they say you should dare, know, will, and be silent when dealing with occult things or religious things. But this word, to be silent, this phrase, to be silent, can be quite important, because you don't go around telling people, oh my God, I've got to, burn candles on the full moon because that'll help me with my social anxiety problem, because that'll make you seem like a nutter. But on the other hand, if you actually do burn, let's say, a silver or a white candle every single full moon, let's say within, 2 or 3 days either side, so you're not being too fanatical about it, that might give you a sense of presence within the world. It'll give you a feeling of structure, a sense of the cycles of nature, and all kinds of other good things, which could possibly just help to just make you feel human again. Alright, but you can keep silent about these things. And you don't have to get too dogmatic. I mean, if you get involved, let's say, in a lunar cult, or in a lunar style religion, which there are some out there, okay, that can be great, but there's always someone who's going to try and like throw the dogma at you. And when that happens, you know, they are bad people, okay, they are bad people, they're wrong for your energy or your, you know, your state of development at the moment. You keep away from them, okay, because they're not quite good enough for you at this time. And finally, I'll just say, you know, dogma doesn't take into account matters of the heart, namely the way that you're changing internally, okay, you know, up here and in here. And it doesn't take into account growth. So basically, be flexible. Change happens, and your understanding of whatever it is you're looking into will change with time. But in reality, and for yourself, it's the benefits that you get when trying to overcome the problem at hand, which is what's most important for you right now. Just a few thoughts for today.